Okay, so first of all, one of the first things you need to be doing is you need to start your day with a plan. This is very, very important. My day, every day starts with a plan. My plan is normally put together the night before, and I'll tell you what I found. Primarily that it, if I'm lost in a day and my motivation levels are down, it's because I don't have a plan. It's because I don't have a particular agenda for the day, that things that I want to work on, for example. And I've had some days where I feel lost, like I don't know what to do. What am I doing today, for example, or I don't have the motivation to do this or do that. That's because obviously there's no plan in place. So always start your day with a plan. Um, a plan is very important because it won't only help you be productive, it also gets things done. And nowadays I'm doing this heavily now because there's a couple of more projects I'm working on next year. Plus I've got you great guys to coach and mentor, and I'm really trying to be as productive as I can um, with my day. And sometimes you think to yourself, where does the time go? But you've got to have a plan in place and make sure that you're keeping up being productive and getting things done. And it's pretty simple. You can easily get started off with a small list, and just have about three to five priority tasks that need to be done. Um, I've seen people have lists of like 15, 20, 30 things that need to be done. Virtually impossible to get them done in a day. I think during a day you need at least three to five priority tasks that you need to list, and make sure that those get done. And here's the thing: keep the list somewhere where you can see very easily. Have it posted next to your computer or on your desk where you work. I tend to have it on my phone, and access it either from my phone, or I tend to have it when it's around my computer, for example. Okay, now to-do lists, we all have them, but what I suggest and what's worked for me is having two, okay, two to-do lists, and I'll explain why I do that and why it works. One list can be as long as you want, and list things that just pop into your head throughout the day, i.e., pick up your dry cleaning, or schedule this, or this has to be done, or that's got to be paid. That can be a list that can be as long as you need it to be, because you're consistently adding that. So I have two lists. I have one list in my notepad where I just list everything, and I keep accumulating that list every day, and I strike off the things that get done. Okay, but that list primarily tells me things that need to be done and are outstanding. Then the second list I have is just the three things, or the 3 to 5 things that I'm gonna accomplish next, and that stays with me all the time. That is something that's visible to me, that I can see. So it's always good having two lists. A priority with just three things that you're going to do next, and then a long list of things that you want to get done, basically. So that's what I've found to be very beneficial, and to-do lists are fantastic. Definitely have them, but it's just the way you create them, which is very important, and which will really keep you productive. And this is what I found really works for me. And here's the thing, guys: nothing gets added to that list until those three things are done. Okay, so your priority list, once you've done those three things, then you can take things from the larger list or the long list and put them and plug them into your priority list. Okay, until you do that. Once that's done, then again you take three more things out from the main long list, and you plug them into your priority list. Okay, that way it doesn't get overwhelming. I used to find myself with a long list of things, and I'm like, I used to think I could time it and get it done during the day, but it's virtually impossible. It didn't really work that way. So I have a long list now of things that come into my head, or things that need to get done, and then I have my priority list, which is just the three things that I want to do, right, for example, right now, and get them done before I add more to it. Okay, complete shutdown. This is very important as well. I still find it very hard to do, but because of phones now as well, which are attached to the internet, for example, and apps, it's always going to be very hard to walk away from things like email, and especially Facebook. It depends how you use Facebook. Okay, Facebook can be a time killer, or Facebook could be very good for leverage, depending on what you're doing. And most of you know, who have been on the program know exactly what I do on Facebook and how I do it. Everything I do on Facebook is very, very, very strategic. Okay, very strategic. I use a lot of direct response on Facebook, so I don't do a lot of browsing and chatting on Facebook. I do a lot of posts that lead people to do something that I want them to do. Okay. So, one thing, it's very hard, I know, but one thing you can do is shut down your laptop or your desktop, for example, not look at any email, not look at Facebook and any other distractions that take you away from tasks, because trust me, it's still today, it's one of those things. You find yourself, either reading emails or, going onto Facebook, for example, but as long as you have a purpose, why you want to go onto Facebook, for example. I use Facebook for research as well. I have a look and see what people are doing, and I have a look at what really clever people are doing on Facebook as well, keeping yourself in the mind's eye. And I always say to people, look, if you really want to be successful at what you do, and if you want people to see you as an expert in any particular field, then you focus on that one area on Facebook. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I use Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google+. So I'm using a combination of all now, because what's happened is I've found such great results of Facebook with my posts and my posting that I've just replicated that across the different platforms. And for me, that's worked like gangbusters. I get approached now, actually more times now than I've ever done, which is interesting. People reach out to me, and you might have seen a post that I put up on Facebook today. If not, go and have a look at it. The post, basically what I mentioned on there was, you become an expert when you know your subject inside out, but you become an authority when other experts seek your guidance. That is when you become an authority. And over the past couple of weeks, I would say, I've had so many people approach me for advice on Facebook, LinkedIn, for example. They see my profile on there, and it's quite interesting now that other experts are approaching me and asking me for advice, which is really, really interesting, because I think now people are seeing that the collaboration thing really works well, and people can work together, which is actually quite cool. So walk away from those distractions for a few hours until you've completed that task. It's very, very important that you put your mind to it and complete that task and get that task completed. While you don't have those distractions. Okay, let's look at using a timer. This is something that I've done, and I still do now and again. I found this to be very, very beneficial. I used to use this a lot when I used to study for my exams, when I did my degree and I did my master's. I always used this technique, and it's worked tremendously, tremendously well. So get a real or virtual timer. Now just type in virtual timer into Google, and you can download some apps from there or websites where they have virtual timers. And basically set it for a reasonable time, like 50 minutes or 60 minutes. That's the time you're allocating to really, really get down and focus and complete a task, for example, that you're looking to complete. And then concentrate on that one task in that 50 minutes. Just that's all you do. Just do that and focus your brain. Focus your brain particularly on that task. Actually, talking about brains and brain power. I don't know if some of you saw the post that I put up in the group of a friend of mine who's launching a Neuralon, which is like brain enhancing tablets. I've got a couple of people testing it already, and they're seeing some results. I'm hopefully getting my batch in the new year, so I'll keep you guys up to date on that. That could be an interesting JV in itself, in terms of in the supplement market, and I've got some good contacts in that area, so keep an eye on that one. Watch that space. Also give yourself between a 5 and 10 minute break and then continue. So you're going at it for 50-60 minutes. Okay, you're focused, your brain is primarily focused on that task, you're leveraging your energy. Okay, and then just take a break for 5-10 minutes, walk away, do something that you want to do, sit down, take a breather, for example, and then go back to doing that task. Okay, this is something that I've used. I know quite a few people who use this technique, and it works really, really well. Okay, another thing you need to do and you need to look at is finding your peak energy times. Okay, and it's really, for me, it's really, really strange because I travel so much. Okay, and I travel to the States a lot, East Coast, West Coast, for example. over into the Middle East as well, Dubai, and then I'm back in the UK. I still am struggling with finding my peak energy time because my time zone gets kicked around quite a lot, and I find myself being really alert at really weird times of the day. I'm still trying to experiment with this and trying to see if I can get myself down to 5-6 hours sleep. But it's just the timing. I've got to get the timing right. I used to take power naps a lot. I haven't done them for quite a while now. I think I may need to go back to doing that, which has really helped me reserve my energy and find that peak energy time. But this is something that you guys need to do. You need to find your peak energy times, okay? You need to find that period in the day when you feel most energetic and productive, okay? And document it, make a note of it, a physical note, and say, okay, this is the time that I feel, do it over a 7-day period or a 30-day period, and document it to see which times of the day your energy is at its peak, okay? Your peak performance. This is basically what they call it. And then basically tackle the most difficult task then. The really difficult tasks you need energy for. You need the energy and you need the brain energy for those really difficult tasks. I know a lot of you out there, like myself, we're not just brokers, for example, we run our own businesses as well. So we're always involved in doing more than what we currently do. So this is very important that we need to identify and find the exact times when we can calculate our peak energy times. Okay, this is very important. And like I said before, this is also known as the time of peak performance. So it's very important that you know this and pick out your peak energy times. That way, when you have a task that's quite difficult, you don't put it off. You can actually get it done because you feel more motivated during that period, and that's what you want to do. Okay, let's look at how to leverage low energy periods. Okay, so that you'll have some periods in the day when you'll have really low energy, and here's a way to combat that. So you can actually be really productive while you have a high energy period and a low energy period. Any jobs that have repetitive tasks, they need to be performed during the low energy periods. Okay, so anything that's like repetitive, that doesn't require you to really think, and use your brain. Over a prolonged period of time, these are the best times when you have your low energy periods to get these tasks done. So basically, what you do is arrange your day to do these tasks when you don't need to consume as much brain power. When you've got a bigger task that you need to do that's more difficult and requires you to think about it and construct it, that is when you do that during your high energy periods. And your low energy periods, basically, that's when you just have things like repetitive tasks that don't really require you to do too much lateral thinking. It'll also help you conserve brain energy as well. So this is very important. Here's the thing, guys. If you really want to be at the forefront and you really want to be, you really want to be at the peak of your expertise, this is what you need to be learning, and this is what you need to be doing. And it's something that's very important if you really want to operate in that 1%, and this is a conversation that me and Michelle had recently, talking about this new program that she's promoting. It's very important if you want to be in that top tier. This is what you need to be doing. And here's the thing, all of you guys have been pre-qualified for this program, and we have what it takes to be in that top 1%. So this is definitely very important techniques to learn and to use as well. Okay, here's the thing with music. Okay, this is what I found as well. Listen to instrumental music. Okay, not music that has words in it, and I'll explain why. I used to listen to a lot of music with words in it, and what helped me, okay, and what kept me working was the rhythm of the music. Okay, the beats, the BPM, the beats per I think it's per minute or something like that. BPM. That used to keep me motivated and keep me upbeat. Music is interesting. Music is really interesting. Consider driving a car, for example, with rock music. Okay, and then put on some classical music and see the difference that it creates when you're driving. The condition as well, your heartbeat. I think music's powerful, very powerful. So if you ever wanna get motivated by two things that normally do that. One is I believe, and yeah, Michelle just put she's a sound and music therapist, which is cool. So I think we should probably have you, Michelle, on one of the next doing a training session for us. So this is quite interesting. It's quite interesting that two things. One is food, and one is the music. Yeah, and Michelle's just mentioned binaural beats. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's true. One of my friends uses that in his training for things like leadership. So it's interesting. Something that I haven't really delved much into, but instrumental music is very, very important, and I think listening to that really enhances your performance, and it really works. So it's quite interesting. Okay, so music allows you to block out word noise, for example, and for tasks that involve thinking, reading, or writing, always avoid music with words, okay, because it's a verbal. There's a verbal. What's it called? Verbal reasoning. Okay, so instrumental music, it basically doesn't interfere with your verbal reasoning. Okay, so when you have no words in the music, it's much more powerful. And there's loads of stuff like therapy through music, for example, and it's very, very powerful. Music is powerful, and it's something that we should all look into, and help us enhance our performance, and it's very, very important. Okay, take refreshing breaks. We all know this. I mean, reward yourself with small breaks throughout the day to get back to focus. And I love doing this. Sometimes I take a bit too long of a break sometimes, and it turns into more than a break. It turns into a holiday, actually. And then it's just one of those things. But always stepping back and focusing on the task at hand is very, very important. And it really helps you get back to being in focus, because that's the main thing. You really want to do. And I'll tell you for hand on heart, for a fact, all of us, I mean, even Carol mentioned this about us being celebrities in the new year. Totally possible, totally doable. If I would say it personally, easy to do. It takes focus. You just got to focus on where is it you want to be, and don't give up. Even George has probably been one of the most amazing guys on the program in terms of speed of implementation. I've never seen anyone get out of the gates, like these horses do on a race course, so quick, and moving towards achieving that. So it's been phenomenal, and again, it comes down to focus. Very clever at the off point, asking the right questions on the training program. And then just going out there and doing it, and then making mistakes, and then asking me how to help. So it's very, very important. It's the focus element. I can't tell you how important it is, and it's and I'm glad we've got some really, really great people in the group now, which is awesome. Do things like eat a snack, or enjoy a fresh fruit juice. That's obviously not fruit juice in that glass down there, but I thought I'd just put fresh fruit juice in there anyway. It could be apple juice, you never know. I'm sure it is something else, but it's not apple juice. But yeah, definitely do that, and it's very important to take those refreshing breaks. They're really good for your personal focus as well, not only just what you're doing business-wise. I think everyone needs to have that, and everyone needs to focus and have that vision in front of them. I always talk about that, having this vision. And the affirmation side is powerful as well. We covered that on the program, how to do affirmations, and it's just ties hand in hand with focus. So it's very, very important. And also, obviously go for a short walk. These things are really good. They may sound like simple things, and we know them, but trust me, we don't implement them all the time. So it's very, very important. Very, very important to do that. Okay, work at another location. I love doing this, and you might have seen my famous coffee posts at the coffee shop where I always go to. I always post the same table with the same mocha coffee, and for me it's part of the day I work outside my office. I'll go to a coffee shop or a library. I found a coffee shop to be more interesting than a library, because in a coffee shop people are talking. And it's something about that, the chitter chatter that goes on inside a coffee shop is really, really helps me focus. I know it sounds strange and bizarre, but it does. In a library, it's just too quiet. I can sit in a library and try and concentrate, but I need to have some sort of, I always need to have some sound in the background. I remember when I was when I was at school, for example, and I used to fall asleep on the sofa at home, because and I always just tell my mother to leave the TV on. The TV used to be on. I never used to watch the TV, but the sound of the TV helped me go to sleep. I know it's really bizarre. I can't explain it, but it's just one of those things. I need to have some sort of background noise or something in the background keeping me working. So it's actually quite bizarre. It's really good working at another location. It will also increase your productivity, and it inspires creativity. You know, I always get inspired, and one of the things I love traveling, man. You know, I'm a big fan of travel. That's one of the reasons I do what I do. I love speaking. I love going to different countries, and I love doing really cool stuff. So I want to concentrate more on that next year, and put on some really cool, working on some really cool retreats for next year, both in the US and over in Europe as well, because I love it. I just love people, and you know, I'm a really big fan of just sitting there and just people watching, and just really really finding people interesting and finding exactly what they're about and what they're doing, about their families, about their background, and that's what makes us good as JV brokers. You know, as the relationship builders as well. That's what we do. You know, we are very very much interested in always in people that we meet. It's something that happens in a coffee shop, for example, is it's called white noise chatter, and it's much less distracting. You know, you have the little sound bites that go on, and it's supposed to be some sort of algorithm that that keeps you working. So, which is what I've read. So that's quite interesting. Okay, get an accountability partner. This is why we're all here, guys. You know, we're all here in the group because, you know, we need to be accountable to each other. And something I also recommend you guys do, don't just communicate within the group, okay? If you can go outside of the group if you want to, and get together with each other, you definitely want to do that. So a couple of you in the group have already started doing that, and it's really good. A couple of you guys are doing projects together, which is even great. So find a partner that would also like to improve his or her focus. So anyone else in the group that wants to do that, it's really, really always good to do it also outside of the group. And you know, at the start of the week, share your lists with each other, okay? Share your lists about what you're doing, what you're planning on this week. And you know, you're welcome to do that in the group as well. In the group, you can put, you know, what you're hoping to achieve this week, or what you want to do. I mean, it really helps when I have my one-to-ones with you guys. I do that with you guys anyway. You know, we share our list. We share the things that we're doing or what we've been up to, and then you know, I try and figure out how best we can get these things done. So we do that already on our one-to-one, but it's very important that you guys do that as well. Right. Yeah. So it's very important to that accountability. Accountability is really, really, really key. And like I say, guys, you know, you've got each other in the group. We're all on Facebook, so there's no reason why you know, you guys can't do that. I mean, I'm your accountability partner anyway, in most respects when it comes to business and what have you. So I'm there for you guys for the accountability side. But it's good to also find someone that you guys can work together with on that front as well. And you know, at the start of the week, share your lists, and at the end of the week, check what's been accomplished. Okay, check what you've done, what's been done, how has it progressed, how has it tracked. I mean, I do this with a lot of you. George, I do this with especially. He's really quick, and like I say, guys, you're also welcome to email me. Okay, I mean, once we have a one-to-one calls, you can also email me. So you know, I'm available to you guys on a week-by-week basis. So. Okay, leverage the end of the day. Okay, this is the final thing that's very, very important. Always clear your desk at the end of each day. You know, I used to keep my desk like this. Not as bad as that, but I always used to say that it's called organized chaos. Okay, I used to make a joke about it. But what you find is it's so unorganized that you don't know where things are. You know, and it's like one thing I used to always hate is going abroad for a week or two, coming back and someone's cleared my desk. And I'm like, man, you know what? Where is that thing gone that I had? I had this receipt there. I had this note there. It's not there anymore. So, so you should. It's always important to do that. You know, clear your desk. So at the end of the day, so at the beginning of the next day, you have a clean desk to work on, and you know, it really helps with your mind. I'm really loving this personal development stuff and this these things that you can do that I've never really looked into, because you know, I always did these things naturally, but more and more I'm looking at it thinking, you know, these are things that we should all learn that really enhance us and bring us up where we need to be. But I think a lot of people go to these rah-rah events and they don't have a focus. That's a problem. They're not focused yet. So I wouldn't recommend anyone go to these big, you know, T. Harv Eker or whatever events, whatever they are, to get the motivation unless before you have a focus. So having a mentor is, you know, like we've always said, is great. Have the focus in place, then go out and find the skills that you need to acquire to implement that. So that's very important. So, you know, you start fresh with a non-clutter environment, which is very important. And, you know, you get to, what you do then at the end of the day, you prepare your list for the following day, okay? And, you know, it's something that I always do. I prepare my list for the next day and get those important tasks out of the way. I still have things on my list that, you know, I procrastinate here and there. But like I say, it's about finding my peak level, peak energy times. If I could really knuckle that down and determine that, then it would be very easy for me to do that.